Well, hi. We are doing a road trip to Costa Rica. And that's a pretty big deal. Like from Canada to Costa Rica, it's a big deal. Decided to make some videos for loved ones and for anyone else that's interested, because there may be other people that are going to be doing this trip that could gain some knowledge from our experiences. So yeah, we decided to document it. Now, who's we? Me, Amber. And then there's also Tina, Tom, Dorian, and we're picking Justin up on the way. So I will be starting in Burlington, Ontario. Tina will be starting in Toronto, Ontario. And we're both doing the first leg of the trip on our own. We'll be meeting up in Austin, Texas, and Tom's also flying in there. Then we're picking up Dorian in Monterrey, Mexico. And then Justin, our Costa Rican friend, who was our first Uber driver in Costa Rica on our very first trip. And awesome guy, just didn't want to miss out on the adventure. We're picking him up somewhere in Mexico. We don't know yet where, but he does have his ticket to fly in there. So it's all very exciting. And like I said, I'm gonna share our experiences so that our friends and loved ones can follow along with us. But I think there might also be other people that can learn from this. So if you are a friend or loved one, your part's done. Like, you can stop listening now. We'll share other videos later. But if you're someone that's thinking of doing this trip, I just want to share some of the knowledge that we have gained from other travelers that have already done this. And you may have read it already in the blogs. My first advice is do a little research, like see what you're getting yourself into, plan your route-ish, because traveling through Central America, you never know what's going to happen. It's always good to have a plan, but it's also good to be open to anything that may happen along the way. So one of the biggest things though that we have found is making copies. We have made copies of everything: driver's license, registration, insurance, like the ownership papers, maybe the bill of sale, whatever you have for your car, passports. We read somewhere that there are some countries that may actually ask for a copy of every single page of your passport. So it's amazing how many pages our passports have. Like, it took forever copying them. But I have done this. I have made copies of everything. I also have, I've scanned them in there in my Dropbox account. So if I do need to pull them up and print them, that's also possible. I've got a printer packed with us as well. Another thing, speaking of which, whatever contents you're bringing with you, it's a great idea to make a list and itemize everything that you've got in English and Spanish, because most of the customs officials that you're going to be seeing are Spanish. And I would also recommend knowing some Spanish. Like, it's there are going to be some people that you meet up with that only speak Spanish, whether it's customs, police, or potential friends along the way, right? You want to make some friends. You're in their country, learn some Spanish as much as you possibly can. Definitely travel with a Spanish speaker if you can, because there won't be anything lost in communication that way. And I'm really glad that I've been working very hard at studying my Spanish, because now I'm not worried. I'm not worried about whether I'll be able to communicate or not. I might have to ask them to slow down a little bit, because it's still hard to understand. But that's an important thing. Okay, second thing, Mexico. So when you go into each country, they're going to need a temporary vehicle permit, and some of them need to check your insurance. Mexico is a big one. You definitely are going to need to have this covered. And with Mexico, you can do it online ahead of time. You can purchase your vehicle insurance ahead of time. We got ours at bajabound.com. It was a very simple process. We're able to do it all online and just got the certificate. And the temporary vehicle permit also, which, think about it, like if you didn't do it online, you would have to stand in a lineup at the Mexican border, and goodness knows how long that might take. So we were able to get ours ahead of time online. And in order to do that, we had to get our tourist visa, associated with each individual's passport. Whoever the owner of the vehicle is had to have his tourist visa registration number. So there's 3 things then that you're gonna need just to make your trip go easier in Mexico. Also, get some pesos. And they'll accept US dollars too, but good idea to get some pesos so that you've got cash. There will be toll roads. You know, you're going to be wanting to travel during the day. You're going to be wanting to take those toll roads if they're safer. Like, don't be afraid to pay a few tolls to avoid danger or, you know, rocky roads or whatever. We are also going to be traveling through Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and then finally into Costa Rica. Those other places, I didn't find anything where we could pre-purchase our temporary vehicle permits online. So we'll just be doing that at the border. And again, some of those places will require tons of copies of everything. So we've got that, we've got the currencies that we need. But in some cases, it can only be done when you're on the spot. And that's when, again, when the Spanish comes in handy. So for insurance for those other countries, the Mexico policy we get only covers Mexico, but there is a policy that we were able to purchase through a gentleman called Mario, and I'll have to share that link somehow with this video, but he was able to get us a policy that covers, I think it was all of Central America with a couple of exceptions, but it was not only the liability, but also damage and contents insurance, which is nice to know if you're driving a bunch of your stuff down there. And I'm guessing if you're driving a vehicle all the way down to Central America, it's probably worth a fair bit of money. So you're going to want to have, you know, collision insurance and stuff. So that was super helpful too. And I mean, other than that, there's so many stories that we've heard from people along the way. We've heard that you can lock your vehicle up in compounds in some cases rather than park it on the street. If that's where your hotel or motel happens to be, you can put it in a locked compound. That seemed like a great idea to me. These are all things that we won't know until we get there. So we're going to share our experiences and hopefully, you know, provide some knowledge for other people that are thinking of doing the same. My advice would definitely be view it as an adventure. Enjoy. You know, if you've got a time crunch, still try to drive during the day if you can. If you don't have a time crunch, oh my goodness, like spend as much time as you can enjoying each of these places. I know last time when I was in Mexico, I met a couple that had been driving through Mexico for months, and they didn't really spend more than 2 hours each day driving. And they got to know each and every place. So this is a big opportunity, and that's what I would like to do. We've got a little bit more of a time crunch, but anyway, we'll be sharing some really, I don't know what we're going to be sharing actually. We'll wait and see. The trip begins very soon.